Oh, hey, good afternoon. Yeah, no sound effects on this one, at least not as of the recording. My name is Jonny Hanson, and these, only one camera, are my lofty thoughts. Again, we're in this transition phase where Andy's now trying to close a deal on this house, trying to sell his house, get everything cleaned up. Everything's in this wide open void of who the heck knows. And here we are. I had to downgrade everything because it sucks moving stuff back and forth all the time. We're just going to get everything stationary in a place, and then we'll be able to do everything. I might still do something here, and I got myself a little recorder, but it doesn't have the same sound effects. This thing does weird stuff. This thing is like, I talk. Isn't that weird? Like, or
let's see. Hey, what's going on? Listen to the
I don't know what that serves purpose for. Here's another
one. Oh yeah. Oh, you're angry.
I like it. All right. I like that one. That one's fine. Let's see what this one does. Oh, hey, man. Ooh, like a phaser. Phasing back and forth when you hear me talk. Okay. I don't hate it. Let's try. Here's the next one. Oh, yeah. Ooh, this one's spooky. This is we're in like Call of Duty. Hey. Yeah, we're on the left. All right, next one. Ooh. This is when you're... That's the one when you're in like... That's a horrifying one. I don't like that. That's one where you're like in a cave and there's water in the cave and you're lost. God, I hate caves. I'm going to tell you a cave story. That reminds me of a cave story. I'm going to start that cave story. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I remember this cave story. I have a son who's 22. He has a mother who is my age, and things didn't work out. And that was before I met my wife. That's how life happens sometimes. But when her and I were together, we lived in Oregon. Yeah, that's how you say it. It's not Oregon. Gone is G-O-N-E. Is it Oregon? I don't know what these people are doing, right? It's crazy. They live there. It's such a hippie state that they let people set fires in big buildings just because they're just like, who cares? These kids, just let them get it out of their system. They don't even know anything. It's crazy out there. And I love them. I love those people. I loved being out there. I was out there for so long. 10 years I went to college out there. Anyways, okay, let's get to the bloody story, Johnny. Stick to it. Okay. So, I don't know why we got it in our system one summer that we needed to go see a bunch of different crap all over the state of Oregon. We had never done stuff like that until this time. We hit all the different interesting spots. But we had found out that there was this place called the Wind Caves in like outside of Bend, Oregon. And we went up there and it was a long drive. It was like a 3.5 hour drive to this place. And the plan was drive there, spend a couple hours there, drive home for the night. That was our plan. We get to this place and we were imagining a park, and like people have taken pictures of the inside of these caves and there's some beautiful pictures, and boy, we didn't know anything about caving. We didn't know anything about anything. Gosh, we were so unprepared. This was so dangerous. I'm so glad we're as smart as we were, or at least as cowardly as we were, maybe is the right one, or fearful. But we arrive at this place. There is just a hole in the ground. So imagine it's arid. It's very deserty. All there is like tumbleweeds as far as the eye can see. And you take a dirt road for maybe a half a mile or maybe a mile down this dirt road that you'll see these little signs. They're little national park signs. They're nothing crazy. They're not huge. Just a little national park sign here and there. It says, half a mile, quarter mile, boom, you're there. And nothingness becomes more nothingness with one tree. And you see this tree and you go, okay, cool, there's a tree. And then there's kind of this off in the distance, there's like this loosely roped off hole in the ground. Like what? How? And the hole is maybe like 20 foot by 15 foot. And it's just a hole in the ground. And there's rope all around it except for one area where you can walk yourself through. And then you see there's like a metal ladder, a metal frame ladder that's been bolted into the rock face. And what it is lava trout. These are lava tubes. Billion, trillion years ago, volcano exploded there. And it was so hot that it literally burned itself into the earth and then drained out into the ocean. And it left these tubes that was so hot that as it burned, it would flash, crystallize all the rock, the molten rock, and you'd get these crazy crystals. It's cool. Sorry, I was in geology in college. I took a great interest. I had one of the greatest professors in the world, David Blackwell. That guy was awesome. He listened to heavy metal rock music. Gosh, I don't know how he's doing today. I guess I could look it up and find out. He was a professor at the University of Oregon, and he liked our rock band. I was impressed with myself with that one. I thought that was pretty special. It was. Anyways, okay, back to the story. We see this hole in the ground, and there's just rope and like posts, wooden posts, a 3-inch diameter wooden post and rope, and then this ladder. And one other car in the parking lot, and it is we called him a grocery getter, but it was a paneled station wagon car. It looked old, but it didn't look like old, like it was left there to rot out. It was just an older car. And this is in the early 2000s. And gosh, it was like shady. It felt like hills have eyes. There was just nothing as far as the eye could see. It's just desert with like tumbleweeds and little bushes and stuff. But there was trees maybe every, mile you'd see one off in the distance. There ain't nothing. And all we each had, no joke, these flashlights from the dollar store at the time. This one I at least got from maybe Harbor Freight for $2. But back in the day, you get like a 2-pack of these for $1 at the Dollar Tree. So we got 2 of those, and we got plenty of batteries for them. Unfortunately, especially back in the early 2000s, they didn't have LED. Or if they did, they weren't giving it to us. And this stuff wasn't bright at all. It didn't do nothing. It barely went. If you were in a closet in a house that already had light circulating through it, you could use something like that to, maybe find a pair of sneakers in a perfectly comfortable place where you're familiar with the territory. There's not a threat of danger. But when you're attempting to just kind of enjoy yourself, that's the only light you have, and you're in a place that is completely and absolutely absent of light. I'll proceed. We climbed down this bloody ladder, and we get to the bottom. It's maybe like a 30-foot ladder climb. It's a secure ladder. It has like if you were to lean back, you could catch your back on the thing if you even needed a break. Like they thought of a lot to get you to the ground. And there's a bunch of signs you can read too. But it's those signs that are always in national parks. If you've been to national parks or state parks, they always look like this. There's nothing, and then there is a stick and a sign that's about 10 inches by, 8 inches. 8 by 10 little photo size thing, and you got to read the whole bloody thing, or it's a little map of where you're at. And that's all the stuff that's around there, because there's so many of these things, they don't make each one of them is not a thrill. You go see any of them, there's 1,000, there's 1,000,000 probably if people searched. Anyways, this one clearly wasn't popular today. And we go down to the bottom of this ladder, and it's cold. It is hot as sin up on that dry desert up there. It's got to be 102. Below ground, it's 58. Just that quick. That little bit of a drop dropped it that many degrees. God's honest truth. We start walking into this thing. We're using these little lights, and she's behind me, and I'm telling you, we couldn't have went 30 foot into this, and it's a big cave. I should now say we're in there, and it's every bit of 25 foot high ceilings and wide. With the light being casted in there and casting our little crappy lights, we could see that there was like stalagmites and stalactites and stuff on the ceiling of this joint, and they were cool, and there was water on the ground because that's, it's like the minerals and stuff. It was super neat. And then it was like, should we go a little deeper? And then we started trying to go deeper. I'm telling you, immediately it's already coming down. And as you read up above, like there are places where it becomes, and they listed in, gosh, how did they list? It could have been inches, but it was like 48 inches and 79 inches. So you have to be able to fit through these things to continue down. And then it opens up to a football field size thing at 45 foot ceilings. It's just bananas. I think you can hear my rooster. You hear that rooster? Shut up, you. I'm telling a story. We get in. It's already starting to close. And the first one is actually the worst one. And then it opens up into everything else. And it's like beautiful. And there's water. And there's little waterfalls and stuff. But you have to muster up the courage with the world's least useful. We didn't have cell phones like that. We didn't have these cell phones. I'm recording on a cell phone today. Nobody had this stuff. Nobody. We certainly didn't. We were so poor. God, we were poor. We were both in college. We had a kid. It was very, very, very hard. This was like the one vacation of the year. And we get down into this pit. It's only for one day. We might have had a hotel stay. I don't remember. But we turned this corner, and it must have dropped 10 more degrees down there. It was very cold. It was very cold. And she's grabbing onto my arm, and she's shaking. And like, I'm not happy. And I swear, this is the God's honest truth. I heard something shift off in the distance, and like all I did was quickly turn, and like I feel like I grabbed her and walked her the first 13 or 14 feet before her feet touched the ground. She was just kind of wiggling her toes, hey, above the ground, because I had her just 2 inches off, and she could tap her toes, like a ballerina, but that was it. And then we were up that bloody ladder and in the car and gone, because all we could envision, I think we maybe watched a scary movie too, because we were both talking about it on the way back. God, that was horrifying. How the heck I get to that darn thing? That was 13 minutes? What? On a story about, oh my goodness, Jonny Hanson. That is just so crazy. All right, listen to me. Oh, I can't even tell this one now. In the next episode, my mom's here. Listen, my mom, she's staying here in the loft. Everything I said is true. I'm going to interview her. We're already talking about it. My wife is baffled at the stories that my mom tells. My mom still does the craziest stuff. I'm going to tell you a story of how I got her from the airport that is going to blow your mind. This is a story this is a movie. This is, what's the one with Bradley Cooper and his homies? This is how crazy my mom is. But like, her heart's great and she loves Jesus. So what are you going to do? She's having a good time. What's up with this? Okay. We got time to talk. I just don't want to tell a long-winded story and run us into 35 minutes. I don't want to do that to you guys anymore. So, let's see. Here's what we're going to talk about. I went to McDonald's. Hold on. It's been a bit too much lately. I think I've actually doubled my McDonald's visits recently because I've been busy and I'm so bloody hungry when I'm out and about these days, and I just can't continue to starve myself because I refuse McDonald's. So I've just been satiating that appetite. I know it's weakness. I'm working on it. But This is in Lake Mary, Florida. You might have seen this. This is why, if anybody listens that lives up there, you can check these facts. This is hilarious. There's one that's on Lake Mary Boulevard. And I'm going through there, getting my little breakfast, 2 burritos. And as I go to circle around, I've already ordered it on the app. There is a man that's there that's, listen, we're going to have a real conversation here. He is an indigenous South American looking fella. I mean, he's maybe one of the most indigenous guys I've seen in a while. You know what I'm talking about. He looks very native. And what sometimes happens with those fellas is it's hard to tell what age he is. I can't tell. I look at him and go, man, is that guy in his 40s or 60s? It's confusing. And he's working there, and this is what I envision, because he's out there. He has his McDonald's outfit, and he has a mop bucket out with him and the mop. So the mop bucket, the mop, his McDonald's outfit, his little McDonald's visor, and there's this big old hole, a pothole that's in their drive that needs to be filled, and it's about halfway filled up with stuff, and he's kind of moseying around, and he's moving these different cones around, and I'm watching him, and he's mixing up the concrete, and he's filling the hole, and I thought, hey, why is this guy filling this pothole? And what I suspect is whoever is the manager there, she don't know. Sorry, gosh, I know. What a judgmental guy. It's just a guess. I could be wrong. He doesn't either. And it'd be more insulting if it was a man. Seriously. Or if this is the corporation, it's downright despicable. So hear me through. Why is this guy outside? I posit that somebody said, hey, there's a hole outside. 10 people have come in here and complained, and we need to get this hole filled. Anybody have any experience with filling holes? And see, that's what dumb people think. I'm just going to ask these people that get paid whatever our minimum we have to pay them at this organization is. Do any of you guys want to get paid that same minimum to go do 10 times the labor that you'll ever do inside of here? And they look at this little dude, and somebody's like, ¿Dónde está? Trabajando? Huh? Oh, and he's like, one guy says 4 Spanish words, and he's like, work? Yeah, I'll work. And then they put him to fill in the hole outside. He's usually the guy that cleans toilets. It's obvious. He's got the mop bucket. That's what he's doing. He's been doing that. But he maybe, and I bet he was lost. He totally looked lost. He looked confused. It looks like maybe he once helped somebody mix some Crete up. But he wasn't doing an excellent job. Yo, you're a business. Go hire another business to fix this business's problems. You can put this guy that makes no money in there to fill the hole? Are you crazy? By the way, in this day and age, you're that stupid? Think about this. This is me just saying it to nobody. But you don't think nobody else came through there and had that same thought? Like nobody from the city or nothing? Holy smokes, you get the piss suit out of you. That place will be called Mick Jose's or whatever that fella's name is real quick. It'll be his franchise at least. It'll probably still be McDonald's. They'll get him. They always do. There was a Spanish guy. All right, one last story. Gosh, this is story day. Hope you enjoy yourself. I guess because I didn't have any music, I got a story to tell. My buddy, when we were young, Oscar, I worked at this foundry with his uncle. And it was during the summertime. It was 11th grade to 12th grade. And it was called the Foundry. And they made like a large industrial machine parts. They would set up they had huge furnaces, and they'd set up these massive molds, and they'd make molds for everything. And it would be steel, and I don't know what all they smelt down there, but I'd imagine because it's Minnesota, it's a lot of iron in Minnesota. Could be wrong. But anyways, I worked there for a summer. It was awful. I would never, it's very short, by the way, 2 weeks. I don't know that I got a full paycheck. It was, here we go. So Oscar's uncle works there. And I've been working there for about a week and a half, and I realized this is so dangerous in here, and it's 135 degrees when it's 35 below zero outside. Why don't you think about what a summer feels like in there? It's insane. There ain't no air conditioning. There ain't no such thing. You can't. Those have to be hot. It's got to be able to melt, and you got to still exist outside of it. It's just craziness. They don't put, suits. You'll get you have the pants, and if you get real up on it, they'll put you in a helmet. But back in the day, back when I worked there, they've maybe done something different now. Because here's what happened. Carlos's uncle, on a day we were all working, we were working the night shift. His uncle worked the day shift. So Oscar was working too. Oscar got us the jobs through his uncle. His uncle was a worker. They loved him. And I'm saying, they like this guy. This is how they're going to treat this guy. Check this out. Excuse me. Sorry. So they make these machine molds, and some of them, when they're huge, you can't be by it when it comes out because it hits the belt so hard. Yeah, stand back. It'll throw chips of shit all over the place, and people get hurt. So they got walls up for that stuff, the real big pieces. But some of these molds are 35 pieces, and 32 out of the 35 will fall out of the mold. So they'll give you this little this rod, and the machine's on a button you push. You push the button because it'll go there. It'll automatically open, but it won't automatically close again. No. You got to be out of that machine, and you push the button for this thing to close. And there's only one guy ever in the machine and pushes the button. Nobody else can push that button. He's in the machine, because sometimes this is the scariest, because this guy's tiny. All these little Spanish dudes back in the day, these little Mexican fellas, that's what he was. They were so small. My buddy Oscar was 6 foot tall. His dad was small too. I don't know how. I think it was just health, really, because all his family, when they got up here, all the kids, the descendants, they automatically were all bigger than all their family when they were born here. So something was happening with the food that they got way bigger, way more nutrition. His uncle's this tiny little skinny guy, 5'2", tiny. So he'd have to walk in half a step. He'd have to put half his bloody body in this thing. And then he'd take that stick and he'd ratchet the piece off. And you'd click it a couple of times. You'd wrist it out and it'd fall down. And then you could pull your arm out of there. Clear, push a button, closes the next one. But these things, they want you moving. Hey, get going. Don't sit there with that thing open, because the more your mold would be open, the more air that's getting in there, the colder it gets, the longer it takes to put in another mold. So you've got to be at a certain temperature. So got to keep that thing cooking. I don't know how it happened. He don't remember how it happened, but he was kind of halfway in this thing, and he might have been turned the wrong way is what it was. Or that's what he thinks. And in an effort to reach in a little further and get back, he actually pushed a button and he slid his ass out. And it's not like it went, "Cartouche." It doesn't have to. It slowly is closing. But this guy didn't mediate his time well. And he thought he had enough time, and it didn't come out. And he went one last, "I got to get it," and then pulled himself out, and he didn't get his hand out in time. And it singed his hand all the way here to his wrist here. So he lost all of this here. So he had his pointer finger and his thumb. He lost 3 digits and the bulk of this thing. And then he got this little hard plastic thumb, but it was thin. And then he would pinch these things, and he had these pincers, if you were playing that game in the mall where you try to win a toy. That's what he did with everything from there on out. And for his loss of 3 fingers, you got $5,000 per digit. So he got 15 grand. And they paid for the little plastic nub that he could use. He still worked there. He thought that was just what it was. He gave the money to his family. He's an honorable guy, poor guy. And the business just did him bad. Jeez, what a sad story. Jeez, why did you just tell whole sad stories? I think he's honorable. I think he'll be rewarded somewhere else, I bet. That's what I think. I hope he knows Jesus. I don't know. I didn't then. Nobody I knew did. Or if they did, they certainly didn't tell me and express it, because I didn't hear none of that. And we'll talk about that with Mom later, because we're going to interview her at some point in time, just to prove it's all true. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry there's no sound effects, and it started a little weird. I hadn't done one of these in like 4 or 5 days because she got here, and, well, you'll hear in the story, things got crazy. All right. I pray that you have a deep and a fulfilling relationship with Jesus, and that he blesses you all the days of your life. Have a great afternoon. Thanks again.